Welcome to this session called GenAI in Motion, From Experience to Value Delivery. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be an exciting session on AI in the automotive industry. We got a lot of experience with these two gentlemen joining me. This is Michael Zicker from Continental and Lutz Beck from Daimler Truck. So we have the IT and the business side over here, but we also have the OEM and the Tier 1 side here. So great coverage of the automotive industry and some perspectives. And I would not waste any time and ask Lutz to please introduce yourself and your company.
I'll do. Thank you. Welcome from my side as well. So my name is Lutz Beck. I'm the CIO of Daimler Trucks North America, which is one of the largest truck manufacturer of the world, right? Daimler Truck AG. We have more than 42 production sites. We have more than 100,000 employees worldwide. We are basically in all the continents, and we are doing a lot of topics, as you know, in terms of electromobility, but also in terms of autonomous driving. So AI is not a new field for us. GenAI, of course, is, but we are working on that one. Myself, I'm more than 20 years with the company. Had the chance to visit most of the continents which we are in, so I have quite a vast experience in everything what we are doing, and looking forward to the session.
Thank you, Lutz.
Thank you.
Michael, how about you? What do you do?
Okay. Well, I'm Michael, coming from Continental Automotive, which is part of the overall Continental Group, and I'm leading the R&D transformation program as a director. Within Continental, I'm part of the business area user experience. And our product portfolio lasts from typical display solutions via digital clusters and head-up displays. The way we develop our products requires certain attention nowadays in order to be faster, have faster reaction times for our customers, to our customers, and overall increase the way, decrease the time we develop our products. In automotive, we follow the so-called automotive V model, starting from the left side, requirements engineering into the system design, system architecture, followed by the component design, then going up again into integration, testing, and ultimately the release of our product. And all those steps, they have certain work products behind we need to fulfill in order to achieve certain classifications our customers expect from us. Every one of you know, or most of you should know what a lean approach is, and in manufacturing, lean is quite common, so you know exactly where in your production waste happens and where value is created. We applied that same approach into engineering, having various disciplines such as software engineering, such as mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and we measured the way the people develop their work products. So we ask them individually how they feel executing work products, whether they spend time highly efficient or highly inefficient. And as a result, we have identified the top left side where we have a high effort and a low efficiency in the execution. And we try to transform those elements, those work products we could assign into that area. If you remember back the V model 2 slides ago, everything of the project starts with the requirements engineering. Before you do not understand what your customer wants, you cannot start to design your product. And a typical case on our side is that we receive approximately 30,000 single requirements from our customers, which we need to transfer into our system, hardware, and software architecture. And that's quite time intensive to analyze those documents, to read those documents, to interpret those documents, and to transfer it into the architecture, derive component design, test cases, and ultimately the release out of it. You see in here, it's up to almost 40,000 hours per project, and that's where we need to tackle the point, getting rid of analyzing and reading documents, going into an AI-based requirements engineering approach. One of the key elements was to reduce effort, increase efficiency. With the help of GenAI, we could reduce the effort, proven with benchmarks, by more than 50%. That means from 37,000 hours down to less than a half. We could deploy that model, that proof of concept, in a time period of 3 months, and the ultimate solution for complete automotive within less than 10 months. Plan to go live is calendar week 6 next year. We could increase the way, we could increase, again, quality, because reading is quite intensive, done by human. If you can assist, if you can give that to a machine, quality is increasing, and also our people could focus again on engineering tasks, because reading is not mandatorily an engineering task, isn't it? And ultimately, we could connect human and AI to maximize that overall efficiencies. To summarize, typically it takes us 2.5 to 3 years. That's also the expectation of our customers, from the award until the first start of production. Up to 6 months in the field of requirements engineering, followed by the architecture. Again, that's the V model, certainly, into sampling verification with the design validation and the product validation. And then most of the times we are close, or even we are at the SOP, so there is no time. With GenAI, we can significantly reduce the part of requirements engineering, start earlier with the architecture, going after just half a year into hardware sampling, going respectively earlier into design validation, and have the product validation finished up to 6 months prior to the SOP, which helps us to react on changes from the customer, and also to make sure that this design we have established is ultimately the most robust one. We can go into mass production, and having then overall, from day one on, a good product in place without any failures. Thanks for listening on that short introduction.
Thank you, Michael. And I had the pleasure of working with Continental in this project over the 3 months, and would like to talk a bit about our implementation approach of this POC and how that could be relevant for you in your companies. You know, what we brought to the table was a model of use cases for AI in engineering, covering the whole V model that Michael was talking about, from the upper left wing, the requirements engineering, into the domain-specific development, software, hardware, and so on, and then the integration, verification, validation on the right side. So we have a comprehensive model on that, market overview, and so on. And it's all about finding the best use cases, prioritizing them. And we do this usually based on efficiency, potential, the feasibility, and also effort required for implementing the use cases, which means the size of the bubble, right? So Continental already had a pretty firm understanding of what use cases to prioritize. You wanted to start in requirements engineering. But you can see some other ones that we see as high-value use cases. Obviously, assistance for software development, like GitHub Copilot, right? But also change requests are half of the life in engineering. And impact analysis for changes, for example, is a nice use case for GenAI as well. So the approach we took at Continental is basically 3 phases. In the first one, identifying the right use cases and understanding the value in that, how to measure that with some KPIs. We also brought an Azure template into this project with pre-configured AI and OpenAI services like Cosmos DB and the LLMs and PromptFlow and so on. So in the second phase, we set up an Azure subscription for Continental so that the data stays inside of the Continental subscription, and began implementing the use cases in a 2-week sprint mode. So a lot of demos, reviews of that, trying to measure the benefits of that, and iterating to that final solution that you will see in a minute. So this is a pretty generic approach, and we offer that to other customers as well, just using that use case model and the Azure template. When we zoom into that, you can see we use a simple user interface to be flexible in the proof of concept, to really focus on feasibility, technology, not so much in user experience. And we use prompt flow to flexibly model the prompt chains, also to be able to exchange the large language models and to evaluate them. And Azure Functions were a good way for serverless deployments and fast deployments in the customer environment. So with that, I would like to invite you to spend 4 minutes looking at the results of this project. My colleague Julian Morelli de Sanso will talk us through that.
By leveraging generative AI. This proof of concept is a collaboration between Entity Data, Continental, and Microsoft, aimed at improving the traditional B model of product development widely used in the automotive sector. AI Shadow enhances this model by automating tasks that usually take up engineers' time without adding value. Our objective is to increase efficiency, accuracy, and innovation while reducing the manual workload. Currently, AI Shadow is in the proof concept phase, focusing on the critical early stages of the B model, where inefficiencies often emerge. This stage involves defining and refining product requirements. We have identified 3 use cases where AI can make a significant impact. Use case 0, requirements extraction. Use case 1, requirements classification. And use case 2, feature mapping. Starting in use case 0, we focus on extraction of requirements from regulatory or client documents, which are often complex and come in various formats. For this demonstration, we use document R121 from UNICE. AI Shadow can extract content from multiple files simultaneously, regardless of the format, thanks to the multi-model large language model capabilities. It processes the data and transforms it into a structured table that can be imported into tools like doors. This automation reduces manual errors and saves considerable time. Users can review, adjust classifications, and save changes before exporting the final data. Next, in use case 1, we classify the extracted requirements. Manually classifying these requirements into categories such as functionality, safety, product, and discipline is time-consuming. AI Shadow automates this by instantly sorting the requirements into the appropriate categories. It uses GenAI to make the necessary classifications. Users can then filter the data and make adjustments if necessary, ensuring that the final classification is both accurate and comprehensive, further reducing manual work. Use case 2 tackles feature mapping. Here, AI Shadow links the extracted requirements with features in a generic features database. Using advanced similarity algorithms, the system provides a confidence score to help users assess the accuracy of the mapping. If necessary, users can adjust the mapping or select from AI-generated feature suggestions. This ensures that all requirements are accurately connected to existing or new features, speeding up the development process while maintaining precision. Once the mapping is complete, AI Shadow generates a feature plan. This aggregated table presents a clear overview of the features linked to each project, allowing teams to track progress and manage product development more efficiently. Additionally, the features database is updated with each project, growing in value over time. Users can upload or load data in standardized formats, making the process seamless and efficient for future projects. The AI Shadow proof of concept demonstrates how generative AI can automate non-value-adding tasks, freeing engineers to focus on innovation and product creation. This POC is just the beginning. We will expand AI Shadow to cover more stages of the V model, continuously improving efficiency across the entire development product lifecycle. With the collaboration between Entity Data, Continental, and Microsoft, AI Shadow represents the future of automotive product development.
I heard that a couple of times. That's just the beginning at this Ignite, right? Sorry for that. But we will enter a panel discussion now with a few questions that I prepared, but please feel free to think about your questions. We will have time for that later. So, Michael, I'm still amazed about what we achieved in only 3 months, right? And this is also a testament to the developer experience in AI Studio. But could you share how you approached this project and the key factors that drove this success?
Yeah, I mean, we started to talk about the improvement measures end of last year. And we thought we need to start at the requirements extraction and analyze, because that's one of the most exhausting topics for the people. And then we thought about, well, GenAI might help us in here. That's in all our words. We have it, and we need to find ways to implement it into that structure. So we started with a user story. We started with a user story together with a requirements manager I knew, and we defined what we want the system to do for us. And in order to make sure that we get the right partner, we started as well to benchmark the 3 hyperscalers, because, I mean, everyone offers similar solutions, but we wanted to have the best solution. And we ended up beginning of this year then with Microsoft, because that benchmarking took quite a while. I mean, everyone who has done benchmarking knows that it's intensive. You need to understand really the capabilities of the partner, not saying that the other ones are bad, but whether they meet exactly what you need. And after the first 2-3 meetings, Microsoft decided to bring in Entity Data as a selected partner into that proof of concept phase, into that concept phase. And we started to develop and paint and time schedule how we could realize the user story within a very, very short time into real life. We applied an agile approach as we do it in automotive software development all the time. So we were working across 3 months in various sprints. We implemented regular test phases in order to make sure that the users we expect to use the system afterwards can influence the development and can give us live feedback. And as you said, we took the services around Azure in an Azure subscription. We created us within the Conti framework our own Azure subscription, applied services like Azure Studio, Cosmos DB. We used GPT-4o, keeping in mind that I learned on the last Microsoft AI tour in Berlin, if GPT-4o can make it, your idea can run also on a lower model. And as Julian said in the video, it's based on a multi-model large language model, not a uni-model, because it's not just text we extract, it's tables, it's pictures. That's very, very important. And that's how we approach it. And ultimately, end of September, we had the final presentation, and it was like Mars launch. Everyone was amazed. No one did expect it. And now, we are there to roll it out, not just in a business area, but within complete Continental Automotive.
All right. Thank you, Michael. So we have talked a lot about AI in engineering, Lutz, but you are also exploring the potential of AI in other areas. As CIO, you have a broad responsibility, right? So which domains do you think show the most promise for GenAI in your business?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, probably we will have it in all the domains, right? But the adoption will be depending on what the value is which you can create in the different domains. Engineering is certainly one, what you were talking about, but for us, I think there is a lot of value in aftermarket. There is enormous value also in in sales, right? And we are currently working on that one. We're working, of course, using GenAI in our back office in certain areas as well to be more efficient. So there is a lot of areas which we can do, but aftermarket was the first area where we were coming up also with several use cases, and now we are basically implementing some of them, because not all of them were actually having value. So we implemented already use cases for our technicians at the dealerships, so they can write their reports with GenAI, that it's easy to understand what they actually did, right? So that's one thing we have in the sales area. For the configuration of the truck, certain elements which we are using GenAI for, but there is certainly other areas which come to play at a certain point as well, but we focus at the moment on these two areas.
So as a follow-up question, I assume your business counterparts are queuing up and they all want to implement AI in their areas, right? How do you prioritize that? Maybe how do you measure also?
Well, at the end of the day, everybody is queuing up because it's still a buzz, right? GenAI, and everybody wants to have a piece of this cake as well, or feels like, hey, I need to do something with GenAI as well, because I want to also talk about GenAI. But there is areas where I would say it doesn't make sense at the moment, right? And for us, value creation is a very simple thing. Either it's delivering additional revenue, it's creating some savings, or we can gain some other efficiencies somehow. But else we're not using the technology for the sake of using technology. We need to generate some revenue out of it. And probably helpful was that we are, of course, when you look at AI in general, right, we are on this journey now since a couple of years, because we do autonomous driving, and a big piece of autonomous driving is AI. So, and this is helpful because we know already a bit more about it, and we can leverage that in a different way than maybe others can do, because they don't have the journey behind them like we did. There is a lot of learnings which we had over the last years, and GenAI was coming up, but we still can apply some of the learnings and also some principles in terms of what is needed and what is not needed. So that's good. That's helping actually to prioritize. Still, everybody wants something, but I do believe, we have a method internally where we can see what is the value creation out of it, and this is helpful because we can simulate some of the stuff as well. And then you see that there is the value, where is the highest value, and we tackle that according to that.
Okay. Apropos learning, Michael, so what are the insights that have emerged from this POC? Is kind of an experiment, right? So could you share some of the lessons learned from that?
Sure. I mean, Lutz said it. There are tons of use cases out there. I mean, there's nothing you cannot solve with GenAI, isn't it? But it has to make sense. And we are working in an economy in which you need to consider the return on investment within the shortest possible time. That means we implemented from the very, very beginning on KPIs in order to prove that the investment which has been done into my project, into my colleagues, and ultimately also into our partner, NTT Data Microsoft, is worth the money. Because if you just go ahead 3 months, develop something, and in the end it doesn't turn out to be the bringer, then everyone loses, no one wins. But if you make sure that you track closely the progress, that you adapt accordingly as soon as you see deviations, because it's finding, it is still, we developed something which was not there. But if you implement KPIs to measure the performance of the system, to measure the performance also of the supplier, sorry to say it in that way, and to measure the contribution of the people in that project, I guess that's one of the key elements on the one hand side. That's the financial and business aspect. But more or similar important from my perspective is the human aspect, because it's not human versus AI, it is human and AI. That means we expect the people to learn with their proof of concept, to learn with their tool how to apply GenAI in which areas, and take it as an assistant and not as a replacement. So we did run benchmarks. We compared human versus human and AI. We never compared human versus AI. So financial business impact, as well as keep the humans, keep the people, keep your organization exactly on the boat for that journey, make them to your co-captain.
Great approach. So not co-pilot, but co-captain.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lutz, I mean, you have shaped the IT strategy of the Daimler Trucks over a long time, and you have seen the IT landscape evolving. How does AI and GenAI impact the IT strategy and landscape?
I mean, it's reshaping everything what we're doing, right? I mean, if you do it right and if you use the opportunities which are coming with GenAI, then you basically prepare for some kind of a new setup in everything what you do, right? I mean, in terms of how you do things, in terms of what you do, and in terms of how it's implemented and how it's applied at the end of the day. So I'm expecting there is a huge benefit, right? There is a lot of foundational work which needs to be done in order to really gain on this or get these benefits out of everything what we're doing, right? I mean, I'm in the data space now since, 16 years. And, you know, the key element was always, you know, the data itself and how is the quality of the data and everything, right? And this was a key element over the years to do and think of, hey, how you can do that. And it's great, you know, you have all this Gen AI and everything and all this technology advancement, but the data still sits 10 years back, right? So, and this is, I think, a fundamental topic as well. I do hope, you know, with also some of the tools, we can actually do a lot of progress on the data management itself as well. So we are trying to work on that one. And also, again, coming back to what we do in autonomous, we're applying this one on other data as well and trying to find out what is there. But you know, we need to work on this. This foundational element of a data management is very important. It doesn't matter what you do in future. If you build your own AI, if you have AI agents, which everyone will bring with him, with her into the workspace. If you have embedded AI topics, right? I mean, for everything, the foundation is the data management. So it's not a nice task at the end of the day. Nobody wants to work on that one. Everybody wants to work on the shiny use cases on the Gen AI. But the topic is, of course, that we invest a lot of manpower also on the data management and see how we can structure that. Because I think the main benefit in everything what we do will come out if we basically have this clear. And then, of course, you have the second element is also you need to basically reskill your teams, right? They need to relearn a lot of things. I have, of course, internal, external developers. Now, you can do things in a very different way nowadays. And due to the fact, you know, that I can build an application and workflow, whatever, within 2, 3, 4 weeks partially, right? It's completely changing because it's all automated. And this is something which is reshaping because you don't need this long implementation timelines anymore for this huge ERP systems, whatever you have, right? There is elements, there is features in these ERPs, which I do believe will be managed via data. And GenAI is helping us to do that in a different way. So there will be structural topics which remain in the ERP, but when you look at supply chain, when you look at some other topics which we have also out of in the engineering portion, we currently take these functions off from ERP and manage it in a different way, just with data and AI. And I think this is a big topic which will come and which will reshape the landscape. And that's also why, of course, a lot of providers of these big systems, they are doing a lot of embedded AI because they want to be part of that one as well.
So you're saying AI is also influencing your strategy regarding make versus buy, so using commercial off the shelf or developing?
Yeah, I think in a way, yes. There is a lot of saying out there that roughly 60 or 65% of AI will be done by embedded AI. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what will happen. What will certainly happen is that we have a certain personalization with AI agents. We need to be prepared that everyone is bringing his own agent. I'm trying certain agents myself just to understand a bit the concept and everything. But I do believe, I mean, in 2-3 years, maybe earlier, I don't know, we all will have certain AI agents helping us with certain elements of our life or the professional life. And we will use that. And this is, of course, a significant change in everything what we're doing, because this is bring your own AI into a professional company environment. And there is a lot more to do to make that happen.
Thank you. So Michael, I mean, this session is called From Experience to Value Discovery, right? And I guess we all will agree POCs are easy, but when we now bring this to production, we talk about enterprise readiness and security and performance and cost optimization and so on. So as you move this POC to full-scale production, what steps are you planning to do that, and what challenges also do you foresee?
I mean, as you said, we started with a proof of concept, basically. It was, I would not call it easy, but it was also quite fast a challenge to get the acceptance. But what happens now is that we receive awesome feedback from the organization, from other business areas. I mean, we are a company with more than 200,000 employees, 100,000 working in automotive, the other one in Contitech and in tires. And we want to make that, we want to transfer the proof of concept in an IT-hosted and maintained tool to make it accessible for all the 100,000 automotive employees. Of course, not everyone is doing requirements engineering, but contract reading and also we have across disciplines, multiple use cases, which can be applied within the infrastructure of the AI shadow. And to make that happen, you need IT. You need IT to be on board and to guide you through the process, because we in engineering, we are not there to rule out tools, so we don't have the experience. So we have now had assessments in terms of cybersecurity. We have assessments in terms of legal, what happens with the documents, how secure is the data stored, because we upload sensitive customer data, and we want to make sure that the sensitive customer data will remain sensitive and doesn't end up public. We need to think about logging and tracing the users, because it should not be just a one-time event. We have a database system behind that means every customer gets its own database. By that, we don't want every user to access the same database, but to be very, very specific on the customer you're working for. With the database, we can make sure that the system continuously learns and provides feedback to the requirements manager on our side, but ultimately think about a step ahead, potentially also to the customer, to the OEM. And by that, we can make sure that we grow closer together with the customer and create the maximum transparency. And there are other topics, like I said, cybersecurity, then backup. What happens if there's an earthquake? And we talked about Tokyo yesterday during the evening event. What happens with an earthquake? What happens if once in a while the server goes down? I mean, that means we cannot continue to work. That means our engineers are there. We need to pay them, but they cannot create value. And all those topics, as we are a global organization working in all continents, having people from different countries, different cultures, different languages, the system shall support any individual person, doesn't matter the gender, the language, or the location. And that's now very, very challenging, but a nice experience rolling out together with IT and our legal and security departments a proof of concept, which we just wanted to do for ourselves, but in a bigger scale for the complete corporation now.
Okay. So just to avoid misunderstandings, right, Azure servers never go down. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have a unique situation that we have an OEM and a supplier representative here, and I think there are lots of potential in the collaboration between that in engineering, but also in supply chain. So maybe for both of you, starting with Lutz, do you see AI also helping in your way of working with suppliers?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we currently have a use case where we're working under supplier steering. We call it supplier steering because it's for us, of course, very important to understand, you know, we do all know, right, that there is a lot of shortages on parts, right? And this is, of course, impacting our production planning, our production significantly. So in here, of course, you know, the fast reaction and everything is all, right? So that you can basically see, okay, what needs to be done. And that's something we are working on towards that we say, okay, and we're working with the suppliers here to say, okay, because we need data also from the suppliers to make sure that we get that rolling. But just imagine you can basically, rather than going through, I mean, thousands of Excel sheets and searching for data somewhere, you basically can just ask AI. So what is with this part? Is there a similar part available? Which kind of suppliers I have, which can deliver this part, and so on and so on. This is making it very, very simple for the colleagues which are working on the supplier management side to steer the process, and it's enabling us actually to keep our customers happy because we can deliver the trucks, right? And we do not have problems with the parts and everything. So that's a big portion, of course, what he said with the R&D. This is helping us as well. The less time the suppliers need for developing certain modules, certain parts, the easier it's for us to start with everything what we're doing in terms of new models and everything. So there is huge opportunities to work on that one. But again, this means also, as we have already a supplier OEM collaboration, right? It means a different kind of collaboration which you're doing now, yeah? So, and this is something which we are establishing slowly by using GenAI and the technology which is coming there.
Yeah, I think for the last 20 years, I mean, OEMs and suppliers have been sending documents back and forth, right? And this is not good for AI. They all work on different versions of these documents, hard to synchronize. So this concept of data spaces is emerging also with Catena X and so on in Europe. And that could also impact that collaboration in the AI age in the future. Yeah. Michael, what is your perspective on OEM-supplier relation and AI?
I mean, our utmost goal as suppliers is to deliver best-in-class products based on latest and greatest technology. And to do that, you need to have the environment. You need to have the framework to do so. And if we continue to develop like in the past 20 years, by the way, I'm part of that journey just 11 years, more than 11 years, but I would not prefer to continue in that way for the next 20, 25, 30 years, because then we will be dead. Global competition, time to markets, they require that we speed up significantly the way we develop our products by keeping exactly the same or even a higher and better quality. And for that, you need to make sure that you provide your customer fast response. You provide your customer the biggest flexibility he can get in terms of changes during the development. Because time changes, regulation changes, so what is defined today might not be defined tomorrow. So you need to give the customer the chance to adapt accordingly, change requirements. Potentially we don't like it, but it happens. And then, as said, the part we collaborate, having an example, 3 weeks ago in the AI tour of Microsoft in Berlin, we presented the same content, and afterwards a colleague from Mercedes came to me and he said, I'm confused. I mean, we have all the single requirements and we are forced to put them into documents and send it to you and all your competitors in order to get a response on our RFQ or RFP. And what you do is you do exactly, again, what we have had before. So you extract all the single requirements again. So we have them in an extracted way, we bundle them, we send it to you, and then you extract it again. So that's I mean, that does not mean that we are all stupid. But that just means that we need to rethink about and apply methods, tools, and technologies in a clever way to simplify our life and to have the chance to focus where we are for, especially in engineering, on designing products and not reading too many documents.
Thanks, Michael. Great perspective. So I would like to open this discussion to the audience and would appreciate your asking your questions. There's a microphone up front.
Hi, I would like to ask you something. Most probably in this audience, we may have people like you that are thinking about starting implementing AI in their organization. And the question mark is where to start, because the appetite is there. We are all excited about your successful stories, etc. No? But most probably, there are so many things that you can do today with AI that the main question is where to start, no? And how to get the support of the executives of your companies to start by this particular point. No?
How to get budget. Lutz.
I mean, I'm in a lucky position in a certain way. I don't have a problem with my executives because, you know, they're running around and they hear about it and everybody is keen to have something and to show something. I rather have a topic that I need to say, slow down a bit and let's look where is valuable topics which we can do. But on the other side, I mean, you all, the key for us in a certain sense was we established, of course, our, you know, data organization or analytics organization long time back, right? When this whole topic was starting with business intelligence, with everything what was coming. So it was evolving into big data, it was evolving into other things. So these organizations are, for me, the driving key for everything what you do. So you need to look at and you need to enable these organizations to make sure that they have it. And to start with is, I mean, you can either start with a very simple thing, which is Copilot of Microsoft, if you're sitting on the Microsoft environment, right? I would recommend that we selected 2 pilot areas where we said, okay, let's look into how we can apply that so that people get used to it and that people can work on that. And then you take one use case where you know exactly this is something where you can show also the value of it and you try to implement that. It will take a bit of time. It's not an easy, and there will be also some failure. There will be some stuff where you say, oh, we didn't expect this one. But as I said, for us it was easy because my organization in terms of the data globally, they were working on AI, on machine learning, on LLM. They were working on that one all. So GenAI is for them a good thing, but on the other side is not that new, right? And I think the enablement of your part of the organization which is doing that, it's a very important topic because they also, from my point of view, are having a quite good understanding. My team at least was having a quite good understanding how to use GenAI now and how to use and apply that into use cases.
Thanks, Lutz. So we got 2 minutes left for another question.
Maybe something to add, Lutz, to your statement. It would not always start on the C-level, to be very, very honest. Because, I mean, the projects are developed on the employees level. And if we reflect their pain points and bring for their pain points the solution into it, it automatically impacts the C-level afterwards. Because efficiency in our project means efficiency for the company, ultimately for the complete board. And I think that's very, very important that you need to make the journey rather with the employees than with the C-level, ultimately, of course, together.
Yeah, we talked about shadow IT yesterday, right? So that the business has the chance just with a credit card to start their own Azure POC project, and then you have to clean up the mess afterwards. So I guess both ways are possible. Well, with that, I would like to thank you for sharing your experience and thank you for your interest in this session. If you would like to follow up, please come over here, or come to our NTT Data booth in the technical and in the executive track. Thanks again. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.